Hello all. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right now, okay, good. We have around 23, 22 participants now. Anyway, we'll start. It's already 3:05. We'll keep the meeting open. Later stage, anyone can join then. Okay. So now, I had asked you to just go through with the programs related to while loop and for loop. So have you gone through with that? Any problem or any program that you have not understood where you want me to explain it once again? Kindly let me know that in the chat box. Okay. If you want any of the programs explanation, kindly let me know that in the chat box. I will record it and upload, and I will give you the link to that. You can go there and you can watch. Okay. So I had asked you to please go through with starting from the problem number 13 onwards. I had asked you to go through with that problem 13, 14, 15. See, these are all, some of them already we have discussed this, and some of them we have not discussed, but they are all based on while loop and the for loop, which we already have discussed. So I had given it as a self-study component for you to go through with those programs, and if any programs you are not able to say understand it, or if you are not able to follow it out, so what you can do is in the chat box, whoever it is, even if one student also has not understood, not a problem. Okay, you can just key in the problem number. Okay, just to type the problem number. What I will do is I will record the video explanation of that program. Then I'll upload it into YouTube and I'll give you the link so you can go there and you can watch. Still, after that, if you have any doubts, you can ping me. Okay, so will that be fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I had asked you to at least complete up to the program number 21. Okay, 21 is based on do while. Leave that 21. Today we will discuss the do while loop. Okay, then we will discuss some examples based on the do while loop. Okay, so now today's session, let's start by quickly recapping what we had done previously. We had discussed that there are three conditional looping statements in C language. One is while, second one is the for, third one is the do while. Okay, so we have discussed about the syntax of while and for loop, and we have solved some examples also where we can use the while and the for loop. Quickly to recap, we have the while loop condition. If it is true, only then the body of the while loop will be executed. Okay, so otherwise, if it is false, the condition is false, then what happens? It will not enter inside the body of the while loop. It will directly come outside the body of the for loop. Whatever is there outside here, next statement gets executed. Okay, so this is what we had discussed. Similarly, when it comes to the for loop, I will quickly recap. This is very important. Initialization, then condition, then updation. Three parts, and the fourth one is the body of the for loop. Okay, so we call this as the body of the for loop. So now how the for loop actually executes? Initialization will be done only when the first time. For the first time, initialization of the variable will be done. Okay, say for example, you write I is equal to 1 or I is equal to 5, something like that. That is what is the initialization. Sum is equal to 0. So that is what is the first step, initialization. So this will be done only for the first time. Okay, then second comes the condition. Okay, then third comes the updation. Then let us take the body of this for loop, opening brackets to closing brackets. This is what we call it as the body of the for loop. Here I can have statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, some instructions here. Let me call this as 4. Okay, so now how this executes? First, when it comes to for loop, 1 gets executed. After 1, it comes to the 2. 2 is nothing but condition. Condition, if it is true, then only it will go to 4. 4 is nothing but the body of the for loop. Okay, so after the body is executed, then again from here it comes to the updation. Okay, where you have incremented that variable, or you might decrement that variable, something. We will do the updation here, manipulation. So then 3 will be, that is what 3 will be executed. After 3 again it goes to 2. Again 2 condition is checked. If it is true, again 4, then 3, then again condition, that is 2. Now if it is false, this time if the condition is false, from this condition directly it comes out and starts the execution of the next line after the for loop. Line after the for loop. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts with the for loop?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Now, after discussing the while loop, we will now discuss the syntax of the do while loop also, and we will discuss the difference between the while for and the do while. Okay. So to broadly classify, what I can do is I can put a line here. Okay. On one side I have while and for loop. On one side I have while and for loop. On the other side I can have a do while loop. Okay. So now how this do while loop works, we'll see that. So let me just close this. Okay, this is what is the syntax of the do while, small d. Okay, don't get confused. Right. Do, let me change it. Okay. Do, open the bracket, curly braces. Any instructions that you want to give here, you can give. We'll just call it as body of do while loop. Okay. Then we have while condition semicolon. See, the important differences I will tell you now. When you are discussing the while loop, you are not putting a semicolon, right? Hope it's clear. No semicolon. Let me just write it once again. Okay. Right. So now, when you are writing a while loop, you are not going to put a semicolon. Correct? No semicolons. Right. Then, another important difference between do while and while is, in the case of while, the condition is checked. If it is true, only then the body gets executed. Okay. So if the condition is false, first time only if the condition fails, then the body will not be executed at all. Right. But see, in the case of do while, at least once the body gets executed. Okay. After the body gets executed, then the condition is checked. Let's assume condition is true. Then it will again go back to the body. Again, body gets executed. Then condition will be checked. If it is true, again go back to the body. Execute the body. Then check the condition. If it is false, come to the next line. Okay. So what is that important point that you need to understand in this is, we call this as post test loop. Okay. We call this as post test loop. Whereas this one we call them as pre test loops. Okay, I have written as loops. The reason being, pre-test loops is applicable for while also, and it is applicable to for loop also. Both of them we call them as pre-test loops. But whereas in C language we have one conditional looping statement which is nothing but the do while, we call that as post test loop. Okay. Now, as the name suggests, why do we call while and for as pre-test loops? Because the condition is tested first. Okay, condition is tested first. Here also, after initialization, next step is check the condition. Condition is true, then enter inside the body. If condition fails, directly outside the body. Correct. So, in both the cases, while as well as for, condition is tested first. If it is true, it will enter inside. And again, condition tested, true, enter inside. Like that, it goes on. Okay. That is why we call it as pre-test loops. So, before you enter into the loop, the condition is checked. Okay. That is why pre-test loop. Whereas, in the case of do while, you are not going to check the condition. You are going to execute the body. So after executing the body, then only the while loop condition will be checked. If condition is false, again do will not be repeated. If condition fails, directly come to the next line. If condition is true, again go back, repeat here. This do part, this body, repeat. Okay. After that, again check the condition. So like that, it goes on. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So this can be a question also. Difference between pre-test loop and post-test loop. Or a question might be asked like differentiate between while and do while. Or differentiate between for and do while. Okay, so differentiate between while and do while, differentiate between for and do, or differentiate between pre-test and post-test loops. So if pre-test loops is asked, you can give example like while and for. Both will be the examples for pre-test loops. Whereas if post-test loop, example for post-test loop is asked, then you have to give the example like do while is an example of post-test loop. Okay, so another important difference, if you see this, in the case of post-test loop, this body, whatever you write here, will be executed at least means minimum one time. Minimum one time this will be executed. But whereas when it comes to the while or when it comes to the for, this body minimum number of times execution may be 0 also. It may be 0 also. Why it can be 0 also? The reason being, when you come to the while,
Condition is false at this
when you check the condition first time when you check the condition, if it fails, you will never enter inside this body. Correct? You will never enter inside this body. So minimum number of times a while loop that can be executed is 0 also. Maximum, we don't know. Until the condition fails, that many number of times this gets executed. Okay. Similarly, for also, you initialize it, you check the condition fails. So will you enter inside the for? No. After the if the condition fails for the first time itself, if the condition fails, directly will come to the next line outside the for loop. So both in the case of while and for, that is pre-test loop, the minimum number of times the body of the loop gets executed may be 0 also. Whereas in the case of post-test loop, the minimum number of times the body gets executed is 1. Is this clear? Any doubts in this? Are you getting the difference between the pre-test loop and the post-test loop?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why they are called as pre-test and why do while is called as post-test? Why it is called as post-test? The reason being the body of the loop is executed once, at least once it gets executed. Afterwards, condition is checked. Condition true. What happens? Again go back, do the body. Okay. After doing the body, again check the condition. Yes. Any doubts?
What is the purpose of this post-test loop, sir? Like, only if the condition is satisfied, you need to execute it, sir. But
Okay. What is the necessary of this post-test loop? See,
yes, sir.
you go to ATM. Okay. You swipe the card. Okay. After swiping the card, it will ask you to enter the PIN. After you enter the PIN, it will ask you to it will ask you some options. It will give you like change the PIN, withdraw, balance inquiry, all these options it will give you.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Let's assume you gave balance inquiry. Okay. Once you give the balance inquiry, what happens? It will show you the balance. Then it will ask you whether you want to continue again or not.
Yes, sir.
So now, if you give the option continue, again you will get back the same options. That is change PIN, enter this one withdrawal or check balance. Like that, it will again show you. So minimum one time it has to show you that options. That is withdraw, balance inquiry, mini statement, change PIN. It has to show you once. Okay. After you have performed one operation, again it will ask you whether you want to continue or not. If you tell continue, again the same option gets displayed. How long that again the same options keep getting displayed? Until you give continue, continue, continue. Once you give stop or once you give no, then it will come out of that loop and it will display a message, thank you, your transaction is complete. Correct? So in these type of scenarios where you want at least once something to be done, okay, you put that into this do part. Okay, and depending on the condition, if you want it to be repeated, repeat it. Condition true means repeats. Condition fails means come out of that, start executing the next line. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a good question. I wanted to give that analogy, but anyway, you asked that question, so it became easy for me to come give that analogy of the ATM machine. Right, now let's see some programs based on this do while loop. Okay, so they are all very simple programs where you use this do while, and please remember, for the while you have to give the semicolon. Don't forget, because when you write the while loop, don't give the semicolon. If you are writing a do while, you have to give the semicolon. Syntax is very, very important. Am I clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's see some of the programs based on do while loop, starting on the program number 21, which is a very simple program to print welcome to Presidency University at least once. At least once means minimum once it has to display. Okay. So we have variables int, index and number. Right. Then printf, enter how many times. Let's assume the user wants to display that Presidency University. This line, welcome to Presidency University. This message should be displayed 5 times. Let's assume 5 times he wants to display it. Okay. So now number, number, will hold the input value. Input value is how much? 5. Right. Then index variable, initialize it to 1. Okay. Now see, we have used the do while here. So what is there in the body of the loop? There are 2 lines. In the body of the loop, there are 2 lines. So these 2 lines will be executed now. No condition checked. Okay, after index is initialized with 1, this printf gets executed. What is that in the printf? Welcome to Presidency University. Okay, then index plus plus. Now index value will become 2. Okay, index value will become 2. Now you check the condition. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, condition is true. So what you will do after this while, again you have to go back and you have to repeat this do. Following it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now once you are in the do, again printf welcome to Presidency University. How many times now this printf done? 2 times. Index plus plus. Now index will become 3. Okay. So this is executed twice now. I'll just repeat it once again from the first. Please follow this. The user has given 5. That means welcome to Presidency University should be repeated 5 times. Should be displayed 5 times. Okay. Now index value initialized with 1. Now no condition checking. Directly it will execute these 2 lines. Okay, what is that? Printf and index plus plus. So what happened? Welcome to Presidency University. This message displayed once. Keep track of that. Displayed once. Then index plus plus. Index value will become 2. After this, check the condition. Okay, is 2 less than 5? Yes, condition is true. Since the condition is true, where you will have to go from here? From here you have to return back and repeat this do. Okay, so what is there in the do? Again these 2 lines. Printf welcome to Presidency University. So second time the message is printed. Now index plus plus. Index value now will become 3. Index plus plus is nothing but index is equal to index plus 1. Okay, we have discussed that. Right. After index became 3, now again check the condition. Is 3 less than 5? True or false? True.
True.
So what happened again? Go back. Where? Repeat the do.
Do.
Okay. Now printf welcome to Presidency University. Printed again. So 3 times already done. Index plus plus. Now index value will become 4. Okay. So next, while index is less than number, that is 4 is less than 5. Condition true. Go back. Print again. 4th time printed. Index plus plus. Index will now become 5. Now is 5 less than or equal to 5? True or false? 5 less than or equal to 5?
Equal to.
See, the operator is less than or equal to. So on the left hand, one operand is 5, another operand is also 5. So is 5 less than or equal to 5? True. Because so it is true. So again you go back, repeat the do. So again, welcome to Presidency University printed. Index plus plus. Index becomes 6. Okay. While index is less than or equal to number, that is 6. 6 less than or equal to 5. Condition false. So what happens? Since the condition fails, come out of that next line. Next line is nothing but close the brackets. That is end of the function. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, what if the user gives the variable, say enter how many times? You ask the user to enter how many times. He gives 0 times. So what is there in the variable number? User has been given as 0. So 0. Index is equal to 1. Initialized. Now, this 2 lines will be executed. Okay, so welcome to Presidency University gets executed. After that, index plus plus. Index will become 2. Now check the condition. What is index? 2.
2,
Is it less than or equal to number? What is number?
0,
0.
User has given it as 0. Okay, 0. So is 2 less than 0? No. Is
False.
no? False. So come out of the loop. So how many times did you execute the loop now?
1 time.
1 time.
So that is what is the requirement. Program to print welcome to Presidency University at least once. So
Once.
0, even if the user gives the input as 0, still this program will print
I
welcome to Presidency University once.
once.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what we will do is one more problem we will see. It's also very simple. There are only 3 examples. We will finish off with these 2. Okay. So write a C program to print the number starting from 10 to 20. Okay. You have to print the number starting from 10 to 20. So what we do? Int A, initialize it to 10. Okay. A is initialized to 10. Straightforward. Now, again we have 2 lines, only 2 lines in our do. Printf value of A, percentage %d comma A. So what happens? 10 will be printed. After that, A is equal to A plus 1. You can write it as A plus plus also. Right? So this is nothing but A plus plus. I hope you are now familiar with these 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now A is equal to A plus 1. So what will be the value of A now?
11.
11. Now check the condition. Now check the condition. Is 11 less than 20? Yes.
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 So go back to the do. Printf value of A. What is the value of A now? 11.
11.
11.
Print that 11. Now increment the A value. A value become 12. Is 12 less than 20? True.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Print that 12. Increment the A value. A value becomes 13. Is 13 less than 20? Yes. Go back. Print that 13. So like this, it keeps printing 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, up to 19. Okay. And 20. A value becomes 20. After printing 19, A value will be incremented. A value becomes 20. Now is 20 less than or equal to 20? Yes. True. Go back. Printf value of A. That is 20 also will be printed. After 20 is printed, A value will become 21.
21.
Is 21 less than or equal to 20?
False.
No, sir.
21 less than or equal to 20. False. So what happens? Condition fails. So you will not go back. You will come out of the while. Next, what is there outside the do while? Any other instructions? No. End of the program. So program will terminate. Is this clear?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Finally, one important program, bit complex compared to the first and 2. Okay, we'll see this and we can end for the today's session. Let's understand the problem statement line by line. As online classes is going on, you know that online classes we are conducting from almost past 1 month. Softwares are used to conduct the classes. So we are using the Zoom. And of course, some other options are available like Google Meet or WebEx, Cisco. Yes, a lot of other options are available. So softwares are used to conduct the classes. Okay. So if they use any software, the free editions are limited. After some classes, they need to purchase the software and continue the session. So let's assume an example of a software like Zoom itself. So what happened is initially the Zoom was giving you only 40 minutes of usage. Okay. More than 40 minutes you have to purchase. Like that, there are some softwares which will give you free for 5 sessions. Let's assume 5 sessions it will give you free. Sessions, you can conduct it without paying any money. You can conduct this online classes. 6th session, if you want to conduct, you will have to purchase it. Okay, so that is a scenario now. So now, if they use any software, the free editions are limited. After some classes, they need to purchase the software and continue the session. So they can try with different software. After 5 free sessions over, usually we will not pay and purchase it. What we do, okay, free is over now, let's explore another software. That is what is the common tendency. Any other software which again gives me some sessions free, we will explore that, right? So similarly, they can try with different software. Once they try, they will come to know whether it's good and continue ahead. So Professor Martin uses a software. The software has 5 free sessions to engage. Initially, he will try with the software. If he feels it's comfortable, then he will continue with that version, okay, for 5 sessions. So first session, he will use it. If he feels it is easy, then he will continue with the version for the remaining sessions. An application has to be generated. After 5 sessions, he will not use it. How much ever easy it is, he will not use because he has to pay, okay. So an application has to be generated to the software company to know that the users are satisfied and the number of sessions they have used. Okay, how many sessions individuals have used? That is what you need to know. Now the requirement is read the satisfaction of Professor Martin. Y for yes. Check whether Martin is satisfied and the sessions are still remaining. If Martin is not satisfied, then stop the execution. This is very important. If Martin is not satisfied, then stop the execution. And if the free sessions are already over, then stop the execution. So which are the 2 exit conditions here? Martin not satisfied and free sessions already over. Then you have to stop it. Okay. Continue the process till Professor Martin stops using that free version. So we'll just see the implementation of this. It's again very simple. As I told you, 2 important points you need to remember. If Martin is not satisfied, then also you have to stop. Say let's assume Martin used 2 sessions. He used this software for 2 sessions. After using it for 2 sessions, he is not satisfied. You have to stop. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And is very important here. Martin is not satisfied, then also you have to stop. And if the free version is already over, then also you should stop. Okay, 2 exit conditions are there, right? So let's see the program. And one more important thing, if he is satisfied, he has to give the input as Y. Yes, Y stands for yes and N stands for no. Okay, usually that is what happens, right? Press Y to continue, N to exit. You have seen that in a lot of applications. In real time also they give this option, Y to continue, N to exit. So similarly here also we take Y to continue. That means he is satisfied. So what we will do, we are declaring one variable. See, this is very important. Now we are using a variable of type character. Okay, the name of that variable is satisfy. If you are confused with this, you can just give it as say char yes. Okay, so what does that char yes means? It's one variable. How much memory allocated for that?
4.
4, sir. 4.
Character. Integer 4 bytes, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes, character
1 byte.
1 byte, sir. 1 byte.
exactly. Character is only 1 byte of memory allocated. Is that clear? So let's do one thing. We will take the name satisfy itself. Okay. So what happened now? 1 byte of memory allocated. The name given for this 1 byte of memory is satisfy. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 byte of memory allocated, and the name given for that is satisfy for that 1 byte of memory. Next, int session. Int session is equal to 1. So one more variable, session. Session is one more variable. What is the data type of this session?
Int.
Data type of session, integer. So how much bytes of memory allocated for session?
4 bytes.
4 bytes.
Okay, let me just write that. Session is another memory. Now for this, 4 bytes of memory allocated. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have this do while. Okay, so why are we using this do while now? The Professor Martin is using a software, right? And that software will giving him 5 free sessions. How many free sessions here the software is giving him? 5.
5.
So minimum he has to use it once. One session he has to make use of that. Then if he is satisfied, he can use for the second time. Then if it is satisfied, he can use for the third time. If it is satisfying, fourth time he can use. If it is satisfying, fifth time he can use. After fifth time, even if he is satisfied, he cannot use it. Correct? That is what sequence. So Professor Martin, at least once he has to use it. Correct? So which loop will provide you to execute at least once?
Do.
Do while. If you use while, chances are there at least it will execute times also. So here we are using a do while. So what happens after initializing the session, which is equal to 1, I will just write here. Please make a note of this. Satisfy holds some junk value. Satisfy holds some junk value because we have not initialized at this point. Only declared. Second line, int session is equal to 1. Declared and initialized. Initialized with what value? Initialized with value 1. Okay. So I will store 1 here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, now we have this do. So inside do, how many in body of the loop contains how many lines of instruction? 4 lines of instruction. Which are they? Printf. Professor Martin uses the software and is %d session. So what will be printed here? Professor Martin uses the software and is in 1 session.
1 session.
Correct? Because this %d replaced with which variable? Session variable.
1.
Okay. So Professor Martin uses the software and is in 1 session. Okay. First session. You can call it as first session. Next, printf. Enter whether Professor Martin is satisfied with the software. Okay. Now let's assume he gives the input as y. That is what he need to give. If he is satisfied, he has to give the input as y. If he is not satisfied, he can give the input as n or anything else, z, something like that. Let's assume he is satisfied. So what input he gave? Y. Where y will be stored?
Satisfied.
Exactly. Y will be stored in which variable? See here. Why are you using %c here?
Character.
Because satisfy is of type character. So format specifier for character is %c. So where is it stored? It is stored in the address of satisfy. So variable name is satisfy. Here, let's assume the user gave the y. It will be stored here. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see session plus plus. What will be the value of session now?
2.
Right. So this will become now 2. After session plus plus, what next step has to be done? Check the condition. Okay, there are 4 lines in the body. After these 4 lines are done, now check the condition. Are you able to understand why do while is called as post test?
Yes.
You did
Yes,
this,
sir.
you did this part. Now you are checking the condition. So after doing, you are checking the condition. That is why. Okay. Now, what satisfy holds? What is then this
Y.
variable? Satisfy y. Is y equal to y?
Yes.
Please understand. Characters always should be given in single quotes.
Single quote.
Okay, that is why y is in the single quotes. Right? Okay. This condition is true. This part.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now come to the right side. Session is how much? 2.
2.
Is 2 less than 5?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So true and true.
Yes, sir.
True and true is true. Correct? That is 1 and 1 is 1. So while condition satisfied. While condition satisfied, where you have to go back?
Do.
Do.
You have to go back here. Okay. So what is there now? Printf.
Enter.
Professor Martin uses the software and is in dash session. Tell me now. He is in which session now?
3.
3.
Yeah.
2,
Two,
sir.
Now 2.
Present is in 2.
2.
Present is in 2.
Yes. Here what happens? 2 will be printed. Okay. Professor Martin uses the software and is in 2 session. That will be done. Next, enter whether Professor Martin is satisfied with the software. Let's assume again he give y. So where that y will be stored? In the
Satisfy.
Satisfy.
Already we have that. It will be again overwritten. Y will be overwritten. Right. Session plus plus. Now what happens to the session?
3.
3.
Right. Exactly. This will get updated to 3. Now after this again you have to go back to you have to check the condition now. After session plus plus you have to check the condition. Y equal to y, true. 3 less than 5, true. Go back and you have to repeat this. Okay. So as of now, 2 times Professor Martin has used that software as of now. Now you come back again, start printf. Professor Martin uses the software and is in 3rd session. 3rd session he is using it now. So what happens? 3 will be printed. Enter whether Professor Martin is satisfied with the software. Now after using it for 3 sessions, let's assume Professor Martin is not satisfied now. Okay. So what he will give now?
N.
Input we may give it as n. Okay. So let's store that n here. N will be stored in the variable satisfy. Now session plus plus. Session value will now become 4. 4. Keep track of that. 4. Let me change it. Right. Session value has become 4 now. After this, now condition has to be checked. Satisfy what it holds.
False.
N.
Is n equal to y?
No, sir.
No. See, this is very, very important. Which operator are we using here? Logical operator?
Ampersand.
And. So, you know that logical operation. 1 with 0, what happens? 1 and 0.
0. Sir.
1 plus 0.
See, 1
0.
1 and 0 is 0.
0.
0
Yes, sir.
and 1.
0.
0.
0.
0 and 0.
0.
1 and 1.
1.
1.
Okay. So this is very important. Why I am telling you now this is, how this logical operator works is, see, this is our left hand side. This is our right hand side. Let's assume right hand side of this operator. If this left hand side becomes false, remember, if this left hand side becomes false, this will not be executed at all. This will not be even checked. This will not be checked also. You understanding?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If this becomes true, then this side also will be checked. If this is also true, whole while will become true. Okay? If this itself becomes false, this will not be done, not even compared. Nothing will be executed this side. It will not go here at all. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think it is saving some time?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because if this itself fails, left hand side, if this itself fails, whether second is true or false, will it matter?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Will not matter. Correct? Yes or no? You understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very, very important. Okay? Because lot of questions this type they will ask in the placements. I'll give you examples also for this. Right. So this condition failed here
Yes, sir.
because satisfy holds n equal to y, condition fails. So since this condition fails, do you go to this condition?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
So after this part, where which line will be executed next?
Printf, Martin
Exactly.
stops using the
Martin stops
software.
using that software.
Exactly. So this failed, this will not be checked. It will not be checked also. This part will not even be checked. What happens since this fails? Come out of the loop. Next line outside the loop is printf. Professor Martin stop using that software. Okay, and user something is there not required. This part is not required. Professor Martin stops using the software. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So maximum how many times he can see? Every time if he gives satisfied, every time he gives y, satisfied. But sixth time when the session value becomes 6,
6.
gives y, what happens?
Uh,
Even if
he has to pay the
Second session will fail, sir. Session will fail. Second condition.
second condition will fail, not session, second condition will fail.
fee.
Fail.
Okay, right. So let's assume this has become 6 now. So 3, 4 will be printed and 5 also will be printed. That means 5 times he has used it. Now session has become 6. So what happens? Here he has given yes only. He is satisfied. All the 5 sessions he is satisfied. So y compared with y, true. Since this is true, it will go to this. It checks now. 6 less than or equal to 5.
False.
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 This was true. This will become false. So what happens to the entire y? False.
False.
It comes to the printf statement.
Printf.
Right? Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now you are clear with the difference between pre-test loops, post-test loop. Why I call that as pre-test loops? Because we have while and for. Both are called as pre-test loops. 2 are there. So that is why plural loops. Whereas when I come to post-test, I call it as a post-test loop because only one is there. That is nothing but do while. Are you clear with the difference between the pre-test loops and post-test loop?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So this almost completes your for, while and do while. Next one session, we will be discussing nested loops. Okay. This is again very important topic. I don't want any one of you to miss this because in the placements, you will get questions of this kind. They will give you a pattern like this. They will ask you to write a code to print this pattern or something like this. Print the pattern or print this type of pattern. So in these scenarios, you will have to make use of nested loops. Okay. So next lab, we will discuss the nested loops, and that completes your second module, that is conditional statements and conditional looping statements. Right?
Yes.
Any
Yes,
doubt?
sir. No, sir.
Right. We'll end for the day. Have you all got the updated timetable?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Not yet.
Not yet.
But it's not
Not from the
confirmed, sir. They said
official,
it's to be taken place from Wednesday.